All fired up! We're back. Another episode. Lots going on this week, fellas. Lots going on. I'm not even going to say the episode number because we're past that at this point. Doesn't matter. We're almost at double digits on the comeback. We're all fired up. So you know what? Let's jump into it. Got some excellent hosts as always with me. Today we're going to start with our LA correspondent. Lives in another state, but it doesn't matter. He still represents LA all day, every day, Mr. Jonathan Guerrero.
What's up?
As always, next to him is a man that I'm learning more and more about every week. I've known him for years and years and years. We know he's a American Ninja Warrior. We've seen him on TV. I'm finding he's literally one Kevin Bacon step away from sacking Joe Montana. Mr. Jordan Fox.
True.
And that's blood. That's not just knowing somebody. Just saying. I'm not going to get into more details right now, but that's blood. And with me, as you can see, he is on location today. We actually sent him to the UAE because we thought that's where the fight was going to be last night with Stipe and Cormier. Turns out it wasn't there. So we shipped him to Orlando. He's now in the bubble. He's self-quarantining with all the cardboard cutouts behind him. Mr. Joey Clax. We're going to start today. Since you're at the bubble, we might as well start with some NBA. We got a lot of things we're going to cover. We're going to go over MMA today. We've got a special segment with Mr. Fox, as always, that's going to come at you with some Euro love, some American love. We got a clack attack that, never lets us down. So we got a lot to go over, MLB. But we're going to start with NBA. Playoffs are here. And this whole 8-game playoff thing, play-in to the playoffs, was kind of annoying to me. To me, it was just waiting for people to get injured. It was waiting for things to happen that, were pretty much predictable. The 8th seed was the only thing with this play-in game. And it was pretty exciting, I guess, for Portland to make it all the way from where they were. I was kind of hoping it was going to be a Portland-Phoenix play-in game. I thought that would have been nice, since Phoenix went 8-0 in the bubble. How can you go 8-0 and then not even have a chance to get in the playoffs? That doesn't make sense to me. It's a stupid format, but it is what it is. Zion and the Pelicans sent home, and they fired the coach. John's prediction of the Pelicans making a run, probably not going to happen this year, I'm thinking now.
No, I don't think
We'll
so.
get to that, John. We'll get to that. I think we'll get to that. Should we start with this West? I mean, the 1-8 matchup might be one of the best 1-8 matchups we've ever had. Portland and the Lakers. Jordan, I'm going to ask you first. I mean, we've seen in the past 2 8 seeds, I believe, have advanced. The New York Knicks in 99 made it all the way to the finals. 94, the Nuggets, they had their surprise upset. I don't want to mention who they beat in that first round. I don't want to upset you. I believe it was the Sonics, but I'm not 100% sure. It was the Sonics. Okay, he's not talking. That's what I thought. That was all from memory. I just remember Sean Kemp and Peyton just walking off wow, I don't know what just happened. It's okay. They went to the finals 2 years later after that, so it worked out for them. But do you think this year Portland could actually make a run and they can beat the Lakers possibly, or push them to the brink at least?
I think they can. I'm not sure if they will. I have the Lakers winning in 6, 7 if they're lazy, but I am rooting for the Blazers. I have been convinced, converted, whatever you want to call it. I am rooting for the Blazers to go as far as they possibly can, and I want the Lakers to lose. Again, I don't think they will, but I want them to lose. I'm all on the Lillard train, and this Melo just rebirth is just something different. It's different. And I've always been Melo over LeBron guy personally, just in terms of preference. I'm not talking about talent, so I gotta root for Melo.
I always root for Melo. I rooted for Melo when he was at Syracuse. I rooted for him in Denver, and I definitely rooted for him with the Knicks. I rooted for him a little bit in Oklahoma City. It was kind of hard for his 10-game stint in Houston. But I always root for Melo. I'm a Melo fan before whatever team he's playing against, that's for sure. What do you think, John? You think Portland has a chance to do anything?
I'm absolutely, besides wanting who I want to win, I am completely in agreement with Jordan. I think they're a dangerous, hungry team, and that's scary when it comes to playoff times. If you think, if the Lakers come into it thinking they're going to just walk all over them. Like, watching the last few games of theirs, like Lillard was incredible, and he's hungry.
He averaged 50 points over the last 4 games.
And he wants to prove people wrong, and that's dangerous. So, I mean, I have the Lakers winning in 6 or 7. It's not going to be easy. But, I mean, it's hard because I like them as a team too. But I'm not going to pick them over the Lakers. Okay. I wish they were playing anybody else but us.
All right, so here's my clacks. I'm going to get to you in a second here on this one. But I got a question. Jordan, I guess maybe you might want to address this. So we know about the big two on both teams. Obviously, I would take the Lakers big two over anyone. They're the 2 of the top 4 or 5 players in the league. Lillard and McCollum are a great tandem, don't get me wrong. And then you start going down a little bit further. And you got Melo, and that's okay. He'll hit clutch shots. The Lakers have the Kyle Kuzmas and guys like that will come up. He did it last week. He had a clutch shot. He could come up and be a nice third piece per se. But you know what? After that, the Lakers' depth is not very good. What they're relying on is not very good. And you know who Portland has that nobody's really talking about? Nurkic. Oh. He is a top 5 or 6 center in basketball. He got injured last year, tore up his knee. Nikola Jokic gets all the attention as the best Euro center. This guy is just a step below him. He's an 18, 9, and 6 type of player. And you make that your 3rd best player on the team, he's coming back. This bubble is what he got to heal for 3-4 months. And not for nothing, that's an X factor people are not talking about with Portland. And I feel like if he starts getting Howard in trouble and starts, really out-muscling JaVale McGee down low and takes away. Now, their defense on Portland's not their strongest point. I'll give you that. But they poke balls away. When they do play tough defense, if they play tough defense, hottest take on the show, I think they could beat the Lakers. I really do. I'm going to say Lakers in 7 for one reason only. One reason only, that's because they got LeBron James, and I can't bet on LeBron losing in the first round. I can't have LeBron out in the first. But if it was Kevin Durant, if it was Kawhi Leonard, I don't care who else would have been on the Lakers, I would have taken Portland in this series. I really would have. But I think LeBron can, with having an AD, can will to the second round. And I think the second round will be easier for them than the first round. Clax, what do you think? Sorry I had to overpower that a little there. But
oh, dude, it's just – dude, Lakers in 6. Lillard wins 2 games, almost wins a third, but doesn't. Everything you guys said.
All right.
It's it's really close. It just doesn't.
So we're all pretty much in agreement here. We all say Lakers in 6 or 7.
It's a shame Portland drew them so early.
I really want to go out and say, go out on a limb and be like, I've been thinking about it all day. Am I going to be the guy that pulls the trigger and says Portland's going to do it? But I just can't go against LeBron right now.
It's a great first round matchup.
What about this guy, J.R. Smith? He had one of the best soccer kicks of the season, Jordan. I don't know if you're going to talk about him at all when you talk about El Football later, but I don't know. Is he going to actually come through, or is he going to do one of these moments again? And what? How much time is left? See, that's what really scares me when it comes to the bench. They don't have Avery Bradley. They've got this guy instead. I don't know. They need playoff Rondo. Straight up, they need playoff Rondo. He comes back, he could really be the tone setter, I think, for that squad. What about so let's keep in the West right now. Another intriguing matchup, to say the least. Thunder versus Rockets. And they had the same record they finished with. It's about as close a matchup. It's the big trade. Chris Paul goes from the Rockets to the Thunder. Everyone thought they were going to be a lottery team. They weren't even going to hold on to Chris Paul.
Right.
He willed them to, a 4 or 5 seed. And then you've got the other side, Westbrook, after spending his whole career in OKC. Clax, how do you feel? And then you get OKC. Westbrook comes over, although he's hurt right now and might miss a couple games in this series. Can Harden and small ball, Clax? What do you think? Oh, really? Is that the message going around the bubble right now?
Rockets in 5.
Rockets in 5, even with Westbrook missing a game or 2.
Yes.
Right off the bat. John, what do you think of that?
I think if the Thunder can capitalize on Westbrook being out, they have a chance. But I think that one's a toss up for me.
That's not an answer. Who do you think is going to win this series?
I'll go with the Thunder.
Flip your coin. Flip your coin. Hold on. Go flip a coin.
Thunder winning the series. Oh my God, let's talk wagers. Thunder winning the series.
Is that a Chris Paul prediction? Because you think he's the leader? He's going to take them to the next. Like, is it all Chris Paul? Because who else on that squad? Steven Adams is a baller. Don't get me wrong. I like watching Steven Adams. He's not a number 2 though. I'll tell you that much on the team. He's a number 3 at the best. But no, that's not a hot take. Like I said, they've got the same record. So.
They have the same record, and arguably Houston has a great 2-man with Westbrook and James Harden. And they have the same record, and the Thunder just have Chris Paul. So I think they can will it out and beat the Rockets.
Okay, so what if they had Westbrook? Would you still, from game 1 on, would you still have the same prediction?
I didn't know that they finished with the same record, so knowing that, I would say, I'm still going to go with the Thunder.
All right. Okay. Jordan?
So
we got one Rocket, we got one OKC right now.
Right. I had Houston in 7 without Westbrook.
Okay.
And with Westbrook, I have Houston in 6. But that's assuming Westbrook gets there at least game 5. If he's there game 5, Houston in 6.
Okay.
So I wouldn't be surprised if it goes 2-2.
I want to take Houston in 6. That's my prediction, with or without Westbrook. With Westbrook, I could have seen it being 4 or 5 in 4 or 5 for Houston.
Oh, yeah.
Here's my thing, though. I'm not a believer in OKC. I'm a believer in Billy Donovan as an amazing coach. He's one of those coaches like Eric Spoelstra who gets his team to play to their best, and we'll get to Spoelstra in the Heat in a minute. But I think he can will them to 1 win if they had Westbrook. I don't think more than that. Without Westbrook, maybe 2 wins. Harden reminds me of a baseball player, though, when it comes to the playoffs. There's this guy, Clayton Kershaw.
Ooh, Kershaw.
Harden he's like the best regular season, 35 points a game. Then he gets to the playoffs and he goes 3 for 25. Claxton gets it all right there. And that's what really kind of worries me. I'm not going to lie about the Rockets is when they have Westbrook, I have very little worries now because he will take the ball out of Harden's hands where Chris Paul couldn't even do that. Westbrook will, and he's more effective, and Harden knows he's more effective than Chris Paul was. So I'm going to go Rockets in 6. That means we got 3 of us on the Rockets train. We got 1 guy taking OKC. Not a horrible pick, John. I could see why you take OKC, especially with Westbrook out. Utah versus Denver Nuggets. So we got the Jazz and the Nuggets. It's a weird matchup. I think it's going to be by far the least watched West Coast matchup just because it's 2 teams that are not flashy at all. Jordan, who do you have in this one?
It's actually why they have the first slot tomorrow at 10:30 a.m. Anyways, Nuggets in 6. I may or may not watch it. So Nuggets in 6. I don't really. It's actually the first time this bubble where I actually watch the Nuggets because, I mean, what else is there to do nowadays? But I'm not a fan of their game. It's just not like appealing to my eyes. And Utah, they're not much of the same either. But the Nuggets big man, he does some things. So.
Jokic, and then what about Michael Porter? Like the
Right.
rookie sensation. He basically redshirted a year because of his back injury. Was going to be a number 1 or 2 overall pick. Ended up slipping down to 14 or 15 when they picked him. He sat out the first year. This year he came back and they babied him. And all of a sudden he came into the bubble with another 3-4 months rest, and he's been exploding offensively. He's getting double-doubles, 25 and 10. Jamal Murray is back now, it looks like. He's a top 10 point guard that people don't talk about, honestly. I think my prediction, Nuggets in 5. Joey Clack, what do you think?
Nuggets in 7. And
Ooh, you think it's going to be a series?
Yeah, just because, like Jordan said, because it's like watching paint dry. It's like the wild card round nobody wants to watch. So Nuggets, and I just have the Nuggets winning the series.
I feel like it's the two
I just
teams.
don't care.
If they were playing anybody else, we just want them to lose, no matter if they were playing the Rockets.
I just don't care. I just have the Nuggets winning the series.
That's what I'm saying.
John, who do you got going in this one?
I don't care. Like, just like everybody else, I don't care. Like, I'm not going to watch it. I have the TV here set up, so I watch TV while I work and I watch sports. I'll probably watch reruns of The Simpsons over watching that series because I just don't care. And whoever whoever wins is just going to lose the next round. And I don't care.
Is this the series that they play the Lakers if they win?
Clippers.
They play
Clippers or the Mavericks.
But that's what we're going to get to next. Is
that game's on even too early in the East Coast.
Yeah, we're going to eat it during our breakfast break at homeschooling tomorrow. We'll be watching some NBA playoffs. That's weird. I don't know about that, but okay.
Already.
And then of course there's, like you just said, the last matchup, which I think personally is going to be the best matchup. It's close with Portland, but this is the best matchup in the first round, which is Mavericks Clippers. John, you want to start us off? It's an LA squad. I figure you should jump in on this.
Clippers. Yeah, Clippers are like the redheaded stepchild in LA. I mean, nobody cared. I mean, some people cared, but not until recently. But I'll say this: if the Lakers don't make it to the finals, the Clippers will.
Well, that's a real hot take there. So if the number one team doesn't make it, the number two team will? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, it's not a hot take, but I'm just saying that's going to happen.
That's you're going out on a limb with that prediction.
I didn't say it was a hot take. I was just telling you what I thought.
Go for it, Jordan. What do you think in this series?
I have Clippers in 6, but I am rooting for the underdog of the Mavericks. I just want to see some ISO ball and, maybe dish it to Porzingis and let's just run it up. But actually, you know what? The Clippers have been kind of stale lately. So hopefully they just coast like Kawhi coast, but then playoff Kawhi is different.
Yeah.
And
is he covering Luka? Is he covering Luka?
He will now. I hope
is that going to be the matchup of all matchups? Luka versus Kawhi?
I mean, if Kawhi guards Luka, it's not a matchup. It's Luka getting under 20.
So you say Luka is going to score 30% because he averaged, 29 a game? 29, 10, and 9? Is that what he was at or something we talked about?
Yes, round it up, yeah.
You're saying he's going to completely shut down Luka if he covers him?
Oh, if he guards him all game, yes.
Interesting. Joey Clax, what do you think in this series?
I think that Luka and Porzingis are going to go off. It's going to be nasty, and I don't live in fantasy world, and the Clippers are going to win in 5.
Wow. Okay, so basically, other than Jonathan's OKC pick, it looks like everyone's taking the 1, 2, 3, 4 seeds in the West.
Yes,
correct.
Just the way it's working out. So no upsets coming.
No.
Gosh, I wanted to make this my upset pick like I wanted to make Portland. I'm going to say Clippers in 7. And I'm going to say Clippers just for 2 reasons. One, the Mavericks are missing a third player. I don't think the Clippers have a lot of depth, and I think Lou Will and those guys are going to be the reason why they win because the Mavericks won't be able to keep up with that second team. Finney Smith and Seth Curry and those guys they're not there to take them to the next level yet. So for me, yeah, I got Clippers in 7.
Now let me point something out. This is something that I really like about the bubble basketball.
Yeah.
There isn't all this BS. Like there's all the last minute calls, BS calls that happen on the home court aren't getting called.
There's no home court advantage right now.
The 1, 2, 3, 4 seeds are going to win because they're the better teams.
But they don't have home court.
I don't care. They're the better teams. That's why they're going to win. That's why they're seeded higher.
But like a team like Portland that had all those injuries the first half of the year, and their record started 15 games under 500, and then they come out the second half and they're 15 games over 500.
But unfortunately, they drew the
Are they really a worse team right now? or did they just have a worse record? Because if there's no home court, like that makes it an advantage for Portland. I feel like a team like if they had to go play in LA for 4 games, that's 4 games they're going to lose in LA. But now they don't have to go to LA.
I hear you, but unfortunately,
in a schoolyard.
I hear you. But
really, the best team should win every game now.
But unfortunately, they're playing the Lakers. It's just a bad example because they're playing the Lakers. It doesn't matter where they're playing.
Well, that's what I'm saying. So are they really just not the best team? Because I think losing home court advantage is really bad for the top seeds. Like, that's a huge advantage that these teams, like the Clippers, they fought for that home court advantage. A team like Toronto, like, what about the Raptors? You go to Toronto, I mean, that's one of the hardest places to play, and now they're going to play in nothing. And that, to me, is whoever's playing them has got the advantage all of a sudden because they don't have to go into the hostile environment more times than not. So, yeah, I agree. The bubble is a huge factor, but it should be a factor for the other teams, and we still pick the top 4. Isn't it kind of ironic? I don't know.
It's interesting.
I like that it makes it just like an even playing field, so we're just going to get the best basketball that we can possibly get.
And it's like the NCAA tournament. They're playing what it's supposed to be, where you're playing at a neutral court, and this is better than neutral. It's literally nobody. It's just playing in like a practice gym, and that's amazing to me. Let's get to the East. Raptors. Let's start off with the Raptors. They have their first round against the Nets. The Nets showed some heart. Joey Clash, you spent some time in New York. You're our New York correspondent. What do you think of this series?
Okay. Raptors in 4. Sweep.
Mr. Fox?
Raptors in 5, sweep alert.
Okay.
Yeah.
Johnny G.
I'm following Jordan on that one.
We're all on the same board here. Like I said, I'm going to say a sweep. I'm going to say a straight sweep. I'm going to go with Joey Clax on this one. I think the Nets have nothing. They got Dinwiddie and they got
I don't see how they win a game.
They got LeVert. He's a good player. Don't get me wrong, but they're gonna buckle down on him. And then what are the Nets going to go? They're missing their top 5 players, 4 players for sure. Durant. I don't know if Jordan's still considered a top player, but they're missing Kyrie. They're not going to do anything.
If they win a game, they'll win game 3.
Game 3, that's the one.
Yeah.
The home game.
All right.
Ask
Now,
me about the Bucks.
what about the Bucks?
Ask me about the Bucks.
What about that first round matchup, the 1-8? You got the Orlando Magic versus the Milwaukee Bucks, Jordan.
Well, being that Orlando does have the home court advantage, I'm going to go sweep for the Bucks.
Well, we got to put an alert out because of our millions of fans out there that do listen and subscribe and follow our show on all major platforms such as Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube, and all other ones, Anchor, recalls Jonathan Guerrero making that, I guess it's a all fired up, super hot take, that the Bucks were going to lose in the first round.
I didn't realize they were playing the Magic, so I'm still going to go second. I'm going with them getting eliminated second round.
John is not a flip-flopper, so he would never go against that pick from probably 2 weeks ago.
Hey, in Jonathan's defense, he predicted the Bucks were going to lose, assuming that Giannis would headbutt somebody, which did happen, and he thought the suspension would have gone longer. So I completely understand where he's coming from.
Exactly.
Makes perfect sense.
I mean, this to me, if anything, I mean, they're going to be 2 sweeps in the first round, possibly.
Only in the East.
That's what I'm saying.
So if when the Bucks make it past the Magic, they're either going to play the Sixers or the Celtics, right?
No, they're going to play the
Heat or the Pacers.
That's right. Okay.
That's a toss-up.
And I was just going to say, so what do you guys, before we get to the Heat and Pacers, what do you guys have for this Magic Bucks? I mean, I've got a sweep. Joey Clax?
First of all, the Magic made the playoffs, and second of all, the Bucks is a Bucks sweep.
Bucks sweep. John, what did you have? You had a sweep?
Yeah.
All right. Well, Broom's all out for that one. That's an easy breezy. Nothing else to talk about there. Heat Pacers. That's going to be a series. I'm predicting 7-game series. I'm not telling you who I think is going to win yet, but I think that's going to be a 7-game series. I think there's players in this league that don't get recognition for being stars. Some of them close from going from transitioning from star to superstar. One of those players is Victor Oladipo. He's a star. He plays in Indiana. Nobody really knows much about him. He busted his knee up, decided to come back. He's a star. Another person who's an up-and-coming star for the Pacers is the son of one of my favorite players, Arvydas Sabonis, Domantas Sabonis, and he is not playing in this series. He's hurt. He's out for the playoffs, and that's huge because that's a 17-10 type of player that they're going to be missing down low as a big man. With that being said, they play hard. T.J. Warren might be a top 2 or other than Lillard, he might have been the best player, him and Booker, as the top 2 or 3 players in the bubble, putting up ridiculous numbers on offense especially. And then there's the other side. There's the Miami Heat, maybe one of the best coached teams in the league over the last decade, going back to the LeBron days, and it just has continued. They've got a superstar. They've got Jimmy Butler. He's a superstar. Like, he's not a star. He's a superstar, in my opinion. And they also have Bam Adebayo. And that guy is an up-and-coming star that does not get recognition. They've got sharpshooters. That squad is built to win. Pat Riley did an amazing job. Jonathan, what do you think about this series?
I've, like you said, it's going to be close. I'm going to go. This one's tough. I'm going to go
with you first. I didn't want you to say I'm going to go along with Jordan on this one. I wanted you
I'm going to go with a Pacers in 6.
Pacers in 6. All right. What do you think, Jordan?
I like that. I'm going Pacers in 7. And I think T.J. Warren is just going to will his team to the next round. He's very unheard of. Pardon me?
Over Jimmy Butler?
I mean, it's the reason why we're like talking about Portland with the Lakers. The Pacers are more hungry, I think, for it.
More hungry than Jimmy Butler?
I don't know about hungrier, but I do think
Jimmy Butler might be the hungriest player in the league. That guy scares me. He's the one player, if they're like, yeah, you got to go into like a one-on-one court against, and he's angry, I'm running the other way. Like, Jimmy Butler's scary, and he does not like T.J. Warren. He blew him kisses. He got him ejected. Ooh, that's going to be a matchup. I don't know. Ooh, Joey Clark. What do you think? I'll get there. What do you think, Joey Clark?
To your point, Ethan, I absolutely hate Jimmy Butler. I hated him on the Bulls. I hate him on the Heat. I hate his attitude. I hate him. Heat in 7.
Joey Clax. You know what?
Heat in 7. It's gonna be the best series in the East for sure.
I agree.
And Heat in 7 for every reason you just noted.
I think it's Heat in 7 as well, and it's the Jimmy Butler factor. Because I think Jimmy Butler is going to be the one to put them over the top, where I think Oladipo is going to be putting up big numbers, but Jimmy Butler's a two-way player. I think he's going to shut down Warren when it counts, and then I think he's going to come through on offense when it counts. And he's hungry, John. I'll use your word. I think he's so hungry from being on those Bulls teams and not getting anywhere and not getting the respect. And then where did he end up last year? Philadelphia. And you know what? That was a squad, and he was insulted when they gave money to Tobias Harris instead of him. Could you imagine a big 3 in Philly with Joel Embiid, Jimmy Butler, and Ben Simmons moving forward for the next 3 years? I mean, that would be a ridiculous big 3. That might be the best big 3. It would be the best big 3 in basketball. There wouldn't be one better. And I put my name on that one all day, and I would have made them my pick to win the East. They went with Tobias Harris. And guess what? Let's get to that Philly series, because it's Philly and Celtics, which should have been the best series in the first round.
Wait, your pick was Heat in 7?
Yeah, Heat in 7 was my pick because of Jimmy Butler and willing him. But the Celtics and 76ers is the one that should have been the best, but Ben Simmons is out with a bad knee. I don't even know what's up with Embiid, his wrist, his foot, his back, his woman parts. I don't know what's wrong with him, but he's hurt. He's not playing, they're saying, for probably at least half the series. So that leads you to who's their third guy that they just gave all the money to? Tobias Harris. Now, if that was Jimmy Butler, I still say they could win some games. Tobias Harris leading your squad? I don't. My predictions come in last. Joey Clax, what do you got for Celtics versus Philadelphia?
Taco time?
Taco.
Hey.
Taco time?
Did Taco play golf this week?
Taco play golf this week?
Oh yeah.
I have Celtics in 7.
Ooh.
Celtics in 7.
You think Philly's gonna push them that far?
7.
Does Taco make a difference in the series?
Taco. EBDB DBQ. Taco. Philly's going to make it interesting.
Jonathan, who you got?
Love the league reference. I got the Celtics in 5.
Celtics in 5. Jordan, what about you?
I initially had Celtics in 6, but after hearing your beautiful soliloquy, I'm going to go with Celtics in 5.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm not convinced that the Sixers can will a win, and when they're down, they usually lay down.
Yeah,
So-
they do. Is this the end of their coach, Brent Brown? Is this it for him? I think it has to.
No, I wouldn't
be.
say so
How
because
could it not be? The
has
team's got a squad.
scapegoat. What's the easiest scapegoat? Oh, Ben Simmons got hurt.
Okay, so what are you going to do? Are you going to bring everything back next year?
Yes.
Just as is again and say trust the process? It's been years.
Yes.
It's not working. Something has to change. They're
That's
not getting rid of Ben Simmons.
No, I agree with you, but that's Philly. That's Philly.
Fired up. What?
That's
So
what they do.
you tell me what has to change. Something has to change. And
No, I agree with you, but what are they going to do, though?
it's not
They're gonna-
Brent. Can I tell you what they should do? I'll tell you what they should do. They fire Brent Brown. Not because it's his fault. Definitely not his fault. He should get a head coaching job next year, without a doubt. There's 3 or 4 teams I can name that would be better with him as their head coach.
But what are they going to do, though? What are they going to do?
Go hire Jason Kidd.
Nah. No, I'm saying you think they're going to fire and hire? I know what they should do, but what are they going to do?
I think they're gonna, if they lose in the first round, they're gonna fire Brent Brown. And if they do, I think Jason Kidd should be the number 1 person on their list to go hire as the head coach. If not Jason Kidd, Ty Lue should be number 2.
It's still my
That's
drink.
That's what I think. I think those 2 guys, I think Jason Kidd can handle Philly. I think he's got the attitude to handle Philly. I think he's the type of guy that can get that squad going. Although, personally, I think he's going to end up as the Pelicans head coach. I think he's going to be one of the head coaches either there or if Philly's open. I think he's waiting to see if Philly opens, to be honest, because I think that's his first choice. Zion sounds nice, but not as nice as Simmons, Embiid, and that squad. I mean, you want to go to the East and be in that if you can, then be competing in the West. I personally, in that series, I got, if Embiid plays, Celtics in 5. If Embiid doesn't play, sweep. That's where I have this one. I think Philly is garbage. I think you're right. They're going to lay down. I think they were my pick to go to the finals when this thing the bubble started. You remember that 4 episodes ago, I was all about them, but Simmons going down was it because I have no faith in Embiid to lead a team. And then Embiid going down, now they're just a bunch of role players, and their role players aren't very good. And their head coach does not get them to play up. He gets them to play right to where they are or down, unfortunately. And whether it's his fault or not, he's not like a Spoelstra. He's not like a Billy Donovan, where these teams shouldn't be. Who's the head coach of the Mavericks? I mean, not the Mavericks. We know who that is. Who's the head coach of the Magic? Like, how the heck did Magic get in the playoffs? I mean, that's the coaching. I'm sorry. Like, not that anyone below them was so good, but you got to coach up to get a squad where your best 2 players are Aaron Gordon and Vucevic or something. I don't even know who their second best player is in Orlando. And so coaching's huge. It's not that he's a bad coach, but I don't think the message is getting through anymore. And I don't think they need to go the route of like a Tom Thibodeau or like an older hard ass. Like, they don't need to go that route. They need to go with someone who's going to motivate them and get them to play up. I don't know if there's any college coaches out there like a Billy Donovan that they bring in, but that's my take on Philly. I don't know. That's where I'm at.
Mark Jackson.
He should be the head coach of the New York Knickerbockers. But that's why I don't cheer for the Knicks anymore, because they don't make good decisions like that. They go get Tom Thibodeau. And I don't think Tom Thibodeau is going to do anything with the Knicks. Because you know why? Got no players. Got no players. Well, if you got no players to coach, you can't coach. I think it's time for one of my favorite segments we do on this show. Give no fox. The music's playing as you hear it right now. Clax, you hear the music?
Yep. Boom, boom.
There it is. This is our section where we like to get a little Euro. We like to take it a little, this is the classiest member of our team right here, and we just like to class it up a little. We'll take it back down later with a clack attack, guys. Don't worry. We'll get back to all fired up level. But for now, let's class it up. The floor is all yours, sir. Take it away.
Thank you very much. Thank you. So we're going to take it to overseas right now, to Europe. Some Champions League games have played. The quarterfinals, they were very, very hot. And, although we're all talking about Europe, we got to mention some American love, because when there's American love in soccer, it's very, very rare. And it was 1-1. Atletico Madrid representing, the Spanish club, and, Red Bull Leipzig. And 88th minute, my man Tyler Adams scores. And who knew the latest American goal ever in history of Champions League? My man Tyler Adams. Had to shout that out. Barcelona, we all know them, and they lost 8-2. Within 30 minutes, it was 4-1. That's unheard of. Yeah, exactly. Where everyone's saying, like, is this are we watching baseball? Are we watching Orlando bubble? Because, like, things are happening quick. Shots are going everywhere, and we're having players, obviously they're saying in Spanish, but we had players saying, if I have to leave this team for us to improve, I will leave the team. Messi saying, I want to leave. This isn't right. So that sets major things. First time since 91 that no English, no Spanish, no Italian club is in the semifinals. Purely French and German clubs. So had to bring that up. Very
Germany, though, they do dominate when the World Cup comes around. I feel like no one talks about them.
Yes.
And then all of a sudden the big games come around, and boom, look who's there. France.
Right. But the fact that they're clubs, it's pretty crazy, though. So we got Paris Saint-Germain. Oh, actually, matter of fact, speaking about Paris Saint-Germain, they have two players, Kylian Mbappe and my man Neymar.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me why PSG spent $382 million for those two players.
Because they want to win a chip, man. What do you think?
No. Exactly. The team they played, their whole roster was $390 million.
I mean, that's sports, though. Look at the Yankees. Look at the Yankees. Look at these squads. I mean, that's kind of how sports works.
Right. But I don't want to overwhelm you guys. I want to go to the NFC leagues now.
Wait. I'm not done yet with soccer. I want to stop you. I got a couple soccer questions here.
Okay.
Ronaldo and Messi.
Mm-hmm.
Are they still 1 and 2? I don't care which order. Are they still the two best players in the world?
No. Ronaldo, yeah.
Ronaldo's still a top 2 player. Messi.
Oh my gosh, yes. Oh my gosh.
I know he has like 30-something goals for this squad. He set a record for their team. How do you say it? Juventus?
Yes.
Ooh, look at that.
He's the top 4. I could comfortably say the top 4 athlete in sports. He's ridiculous. He's ridiculously athletic. I don't think people understand how athletic this guy is.
Now, do you remember back? So he's Portugal, right?
Mm-hmm.
So he's
Portuguese.
Yeah. So he's Portugal. So back in the day, there was a Ronaldo that played for Brazil.
Yes.
Remember that Ronaldo? So this past week, I've been staying up very late at night. Jonathan was very proud of me how late I've been staying up this week. Lots of 2 o'clock in the morning nights where normally I can't stay up past 9 because of my children. But I've been up till about 2 o'clock in the morning. I decided to do a little soccer research. And I started going back, and I started thinking about some of the great World Cup matchups from when I was a kid, and who some of these individual players coming out right now. And Ronaldo. And I'm like, wait, there was a Ronaldo. I know there was a Ronaldinho, there's this, but there was Ronaldo from Brazil, and I had to go find him because he was the best. And he had that little blonde hair in the front, and he did all those silly things, and he was the best player in the world. He won, what's it called, the best player award, the Ball de, what do you call it when you win the best soccer player of the year?
I can't pronounce it.
You know what I'm talking about. It looks French. He won that multiple times. And then all of a sudden, I'm like, what happened to him? How did he go from being the best player in the world to like someone that literally no one talked about? And I started looking at him, and the dude gained 100 pounds within like 3 years of being the best player in the world. In his early 30s, he was like 6270 running around the soccer field.
Hey.
Granted, he had a thyroid issue. They said it wasn't his fault. But he grew that little blonde hair in the front, which he's known for. Do you know why he grew that? That's why I brought this whole story up. Because he didn't want people to notice how fat he was. So he said, if I grow this little hair, all they'll talk about is the hair on my head and my stupid haircut instead of how fat I am. And it worked for 2 years. He got away with it for 2 years until he shaved it off. We're like, whoa, when did he get so fat? And that was it. And then, that was the end. So that's my soccer take. I gave you a little more than you were probably expecting today. You can now continue. We're going to go a little NFL, I believe, for this next one, correct?
Yes. So I want to talk about the NFC least because, you can't forget about, the lows of the NFL. We have to, bring it up. So the NFC least, we obviously got the Eagles, man, Carson Wentz looking pretty good. There's tape on, Darius Slay versus Deshaun Jackson, the one-on-ones. Darius Slay's looking good, but, Deshaun's just too good for him. Michael Jenkins, he's not back, so they're going to try and see if they can, fill that hole. They got the Cowboys, CeeDee Lamb, solid pick. They got Aldon Smith coming back. I don't know, they signed Aldon Smith. They signed Everson Griffin. Some big news, see what the new coach is going to do. The Giants, they're ESPN, sports highlight reel. I'm not sure they're going to win, too many games, but, at least –
How many games you got for the Giants?
No more than one hand, I'll tell you that. But, anyway, so back to the story. So the Washington team – oh, by the way, speaking of Washington, great-looking W. I'm not sure if you've seen the logo. Nice, strong-looking W. It's not like the Husky W like Washington, but it looks pretty good. So they actually have a logo now, which is impressive. It's a start. But let's talk about Washington. Their new coach, Ron Rivera, and their number one pick, Chase Young.
Great pick. Great pick. Rookie of the year. That's rookie of the year right there.
Oh. I wouldn't blame that, yeah. So they have Chase Young, especially under Ron Rivera's system. That's going to work very well. But most importantly, no one saw this coming. I've been keeping tabs. Our man Alex Smith is coming back. They didn't think he'd be ready. No, he's ready. And now, Dwayne Haskins, we're going to put him in our back pocket. And our guy, Josh Allen, he's a native, went to my high school, North Scottsdale Desert Mountain. Ron Rivera, secretly signed him from the Panthers. Great third string, but Alex Smith, he's going to do wonders. And the Cowboys are Cowboys, so who knows what they're going to do. They could make it to the NFC Championship. They can just blow it off and get third. It's impossible to get fourth. The Giants just solidified that already, so let's not talk about that. But I don't want to talk about that. You know what I mean? So the Redskins, man, they're kind of dangerous, man. Eagles are injury prone, so who knows what they're going to do. But them Redskins, they're only going to get better.
I can't even let you keep going. That's it. I'm cutting you off. You're done. Joey Clax, go. Just go. I can't even. I got my last.
Dax! Wow.
Not happening. Alex Smith coming back? Joey Clack?
I'm excited about Alex Smith coming back, bro. That's pretty amazing.
Here's my question. Were you excited about Alex Smith when he got hurt? No one liked him then. Why would you like him now?
I kind of liked Alex Smith when he got hurt, to be completely honest with you. What didn't sound right to me was the Washington football team. That's what just threw me for a loop when Jordan just so nonchalantly said the Washington football team when he was listing the NFC least teams.
Wait, listen to this. Did you hear that snap?
Yeah, what was that?
That was Alex his leg after someone flicks it with a feather. He's done. He's not. Jeez, yes, he can run around in circles. He has to wear like this ridiculous. He can't even have his leg exposed. Oh my gosh, that guy. He will not play one quarter in the NFL. I will take that back.
You're right. He'll play every quarter. Not one. He'll play every quarter.
All right.
He doesn't have much of an offensive line protecting him, man.
I'm not talking about preseason. I'm talking about regular season snaps 1 full quarter. He will not make 1 full
It
quarter.
is preseason. What preseason? We're in preseason.
That's my point. He's not playing 1 snap. There's
Yes,
no way that they're benching Dwayne Haskins, their number 1 pick from the year before, in his second year after he played with a new head coach for a 37-year-old toothpick, no cartilage, no muscle in his leg, no way, no how.
It's a smart move. It's just, you're just right that, that's going to happen.
I mean, there's no – you think he can get away from J.J. Watt again? He couldn't get away from him the first time. And now
he's getting away from him.
What?
Check down Smith.
Didn't work before. It's not going to work. John, what do you think of this? What do you think?
He is checked down Smith. But Washington, it's Washington. It's going to be interesting to watch. It's going to be interesting. I'm gonna watch it.
The only way he gets in the game, first of all, my second reason why he's not getting in the game is because there's going to be no NFL season. But that's a whole nother story. But he's not going to get in the game because he's not going to be the starter. The way he gets in the game is if somehow Haskins got hurt and he was the backup, maybe he would get in. But then again, he would not last 1 quarter. That leg, he'll take 3 steps back and gone, done.
The Eagles game 1.
What?
Week 1, they play the Eagles.
He's not starting.
Yes, he is.
What's the bet? Call it out.
That he's starting or that they win?
Not money. Not money. Call it. Think about it for the next 5-10 minutes.
Half dozen Krispy Kreme. You know me.
Half dozen Krispy Kreme?
Half dozen Krispy Kreme.
Original.
I love it.
Original.
No. Full dozen
Please.
Krispy Kreme. Full dozen Krispy Kreme.
Baker dozen.
I'm so confident on this one.
Alex Smith, no. NFC least, you don't get a dozen from me.
Oh. See, he is lacking the confidence that Alex Smith might actually start. Week 1. Okay, my question here for the bet. What if the season is canceled and there is no week 1? Do I technically win? Because he didn't start.
No.
Okay,
That's a push.
Just like Roger Goodell. No.
I demand 1 donut if that is the case. All right. Well, Clax, I don't even know what to say about his NFL least. I think the Redskins are going to be a team that wins 7 games.
Wait. What did you call him?
The NFC.
No. What did you call the team?
Oh, you're right. I apologize. The Washington football team.
Thank you.
Thank you, fellas. Thank you. Thank you. That's my fault. I'm not a racist. I shouldn't be saying things like that. The Washington football team is going to win 7 games at the most. The New York Football Giants, 5 to 6 games at the most.
Whoa, 6?
At the most, but if they won, because they're going to still play the Cowboys. They'll win 1 against the Cowboys for sure. They always win 1 against the Cowboys. They'll win at least 1 or 2 on a combo between the Redskins and Eagles. And then 1 or 2 more games the rest of the season. I mean, that's where I got 5 or 6. Basically, it could be 4, but 4 to 6. I'll give you that line. I think then you got the Cowboys and Eagles, and one of those teams is going to win 10 games. I don't know which one. I'll be very honest with you. On paper, it should be the Cowboys, but it's the Cowboys, and I don't know what the Cowboys are going to do with that new head coach, McCarthy. It could be a totally different look, and they could be a 12-win team. Who knows? Jason Garrett might have sucked that much, and he's so bad the Giants picked him up to be their offensive coordinator. So you know how that's going to work out. It's going to be awful, absolutely awful. But yeah, that whole division is absolute garbage. It's going to be kind of like the AFC East, to be honest. I think they're going to be a garbage division. The Patriots, I think, are going to hover in that 10-11 win range. I think the Bills are going to be in that 500 to 8 to 10 win range. And then you got what? The Jets. What else? The Miami Dolphins.
I think there's a difference between garbage and young, though. AFC East is just young.
Yeah.
But the records are going to be garbage is what I'm talking about. The overall because they're garbage, that's going to be at least 1 or 2 other 13-win teams in football because of those teams.
Right.
I'm a little confused on the Packers. It's a team I just can't stop thinking about because
I hate them.
someone, if you can, John, I don't know if you got the capabilities. Could you look up Aaron Rodgers' stats for last year? I feel like he put up pretty amazing stats, not maybe to his standards, but overall, his touchdown to interception ratio was, I'm pretty sure, ridiculous. They won 13 games. And in the first round, and they're like a win now team. They've got 2 stud defensive players. I mean, they're built to win. And what do they do in the first round of the draft? They took a quarterback.
I love it.
And what does that mean? Jordan, what does that mean? Does that mean like are they checking out of Aaron Rodgers? Are they going to play games for 3 or 4 years like they did with Favre?
No, the only thing to do when it comes to Aaron Rodgers at this point,
Possible?
actually, I mean, you can't just give him more weapons. I mean, that always helps. But
I mean, look at the wide receivers that were out there. There was-
26 touchdowns and 4 interceptions. Is that possible?
yeah, that's what I'm saying. He had 26 and 4 last year,
And
Aaron
4,000 yards?
Rodgers, with 4,000 yards.
4,002 yards.
Wow.
Yes.
Completion rate of 62%.
That's why.
What?
And he was doing audibles, doing all those runs. His new running back. That's why.
Who cares what he did? That's called first year in a new system with a new head coach. You put up 26 and 4 with 4,000 yards. You win 13. You take your team for a bye to the next round. And what does the team do instead of giving you no real wide? I mean, Adams is okay, but he's the number 2, maybe number 1 if he's always healthy, but he never is. That team did not have a running game. They did not have a great offensive line. And they went with
They did have a running game.
I mean, it was good, but not because of the offensive line.
Right.
And that's what I'm saying. Like they manufactured it because of Rodgers looking at what was going on and saying, now we're going to run it. Now he picked and chose his spots. And to me, that is atrocious what they did to him and the team. If I was a fan of that team, I'd be so angry that this team is ready to win. You have a Hall of Fame top 5 quarterback in the league. Top 5. He's a top – that numbers – if he was a top 2 or 3 going into last year, and then he puts up those numbers, how is he still not a top 5 quarterback? And to me, you don't go get him. A great defense. Great defense. And the defense is going to be great again this year. Why don't you get him?
No, I'm saying they have to draft defense.
But they didn't take – if they would have took a defensive back or a D end if they don't need. But if they would have taken that in the first round, okay, that does help Rodgers in the end. It gets
Remember the NFC Championship?
What?
Remember the NFC Championship?
What about it?
They got ran through
That's
against
my
the
point.
Niners.
Yeah, so you got to get him weapons.
You have to go defense.
But they didn't go defense. They went quarterback.
That's crazy.
They went quarterback. What does that say?
Still perplexing.
I don't blame Aaron Rodgers for at the end of this year being like, yo, I'm out. Trade me. Like, I'm out. And Aaron Rodgers, you know where I think? What?
Say it. Where's he going?
Chicago Bears.
Wow.
Ooh.
I think he's going right to the rival.
I like that, though.
Wow, that's better than what I was going to say. I like that a lot.
What are you going to say, Clax?
I like that a lot. Fuck what I was going to.
It's a clack bomb. So what were you going to say, though? Where were you thinking?
I was going to say New England, but that Chicago's great.
New England's not going to need a quarterback for the next 5 years. They got Cam Newton, and I'm not like
I feel like Cam's going to get injured, and Cam's only got a 1-year deal.
Cam is going to have the year of his life if there's an NFL season.
Yes, he is, but he's only got a 1-year deal.
You don't think so, Jordan?
I know I say I want it so bad. I really want him to stay healthy. I think he's going to have a killer year, top 5 MVP guy.
Oh, I think with that team, because like you said, you brought up defense before. They've got a defensive team. They're missing weapons. Don't get me wrong. But that team with Cam in that division, they're going to play 6 games against the Jets, the Dolphins, and the Bills. So the Bills might be okay. They might
4-2 minimum division record.
Right, and that's just a start. And then I don't know. Like I said, I think Cam is going to be amazing. I think they're going to re-sign him. I think he's going to bring life to Belichick. That looked like he was not getting stale, but he was just getting bored with Brady and that whole situation. So, yeah, that's where I'm at. Let's transition to something real quick. We're going to touch on it just a little bit. there were some UFC fights last night. We do have he's self-proclaimed, but I'm going to let him have the title as our MMA expert on this show. But it's very close if we want to call him the expert, because I don't know. I think a couple of us want to put our names on that title too. I don't know about Jordan, but a couple of us. But Mr. Jonathan Guerrero, we had some good bouts last night. Obviously, there was the heavyweight title, which was the big one. I was a little disappointed with the bout right before. Sugar O'Malley, bum foot, ruined the fight. What's your take?
No, it's not a bum foot. Did you watch the fight?
I did watch the fight.
His foot, he either got, I'm still trying to figure out if it was a leg check that he did or if Cheeto kicked him in the leg, because I'm reading that it messed up a muscle that caused his foot to go down and step forward. So he had a foot injury from something that happened previous. A fighter doesn't just roll their foot. He's like, and especially Sean O'Malley, he's all about footwork.
No, I know, but it's like someone like tearing an Achilles or tearing an ACL. Like sometimes you get it would look to me. It was when he went down. It was a non-contact injury that he went down. What caused the injury? He probably had. Obviously, he was shooting shin kicks at the guy, so his own kicks could have caused it, obviously, as well. I'm not saying something. You don't just wake up from bed usually and have that happen. But he did. He took a step and his foot just folded underneath him. And it
was from damage from the fight. So that doesn't – I feel like Cheeto's win is very valid. And it's just another hype train derailed in Sean O'Malley. And he can go back and start over. But I thought that was a good performance. I mean, it is what it is. And sometimes freak injuries happen. But that happened due to something in the fight. It didn't just happen out of nowhere.
What do you think, Jordan?
Well, I think the first problem was braiding his hair
Don't say it.
Colors
No.
of the flag. That's when I knew it was wrong. That's when I was like, oh no.
Wait, his hair was the color of the other guy's flag?
Yes.
Oh, I didn't realize that. I thought he just had
half yellow. Then the next was blue. And the next was red. I think he's Ecuadorian, I believe.
Yeah,
okay.
I thought he just.
Yeah. So the second I saw that, I was like, "That's very disrespectful." I was like,
I didn't notice that. I'm glad
I cannot root for somebody who does that. That's really disrespectful.
Thank you for pointing that out. I thought he comes out with like rainbow hair usually.
Yeah,
That's what I thought it was.
That's not. I was like, that's too familiar. I was like, huh. I thought
did you notice that?
First. What?
Did you know that, John?
No, I didn't.
Pay attention. You're the MMA expert. You should know these things.
Right.
I don't pay attention to their hair colors.
And then seeing the fight, I mean, O'Malley pulled what I would call a Carson Palmer, an RG3, where you just, you step on a sprinkler hose head and you just tear your stuff,
And then, John, what about the main event? So I have an issue. I'm going to give you my issue before we go into it. 2 issues. Yeah. We're not even going to talk about the finger pokes yet. I'm not even going to get into the blinding finger poke, but my issue is more about how they brand these guys. One, as the greatest heavyweight champion of all time? No, I don't see what makes him the greatest heavyweight champion of all time. And B, the baddest man on the planet because he's the heavyweight champion. I still think John Jones would beat either one of their butts. That's just my opinion, and I think John Jones is the baddest man on the planet. Just because he doesn't weigh the extra 15 pounds, he doesn't get that title. That's just me. John, let me hear your take on last night.
So I agree with you on that. Heavyweight's always been labeled. Whoever is a heavyweight champ and can defend the title for 2 or 3 times, they're like, this guy's the greatest. When Anderson Silva defended the middleweight title for 16 times, there's so many better fighters. And heavyweight, they're just people like watching big people 16? Knock each other out. 16 consecutive title defenses.
UFC title?
Yep.
No way.
Anderson the Spider Silva. Yep.
16? Wow.
Yes.
Keep going.
Okay. Anyways, on to the fight. So we all of us talked before the fight, and we were talking about predictions. And before the fight, before the walkouts, I was totally DC based on how the first 2 fights went. Besides the ending of the second fight, DC had control. I think he got caught just like Stipe did in the first one. So maybe that was my mistake. But watching them walk out and all the talk that they did about DC, his last fight, him going out wanting to be the champion. But when I looked, like, I'm not a fighter, but
You
when I
said it,
look
John.
at,
You said it to me right when he walked out. I will back you up 1,000% that this is how John felt. Go.
I said his eyes, he's checked out. Walking out, he's checked out already, which it should have been obvious if you're going into your last fight anyways, but his mind wasn't in that fight. And before we bring up the eye pokes, he was going to lose that fight regardless of the eye poke.
No.
He was thinking about in and out. That's what he was thinking about when he walked around. He looked so.
No, he likes Popeyes. Popeyes is his thing.
I don't doubt it. I mean, no. Yeah. So I predicted Stipe. I just thought Cormier he's done. He's old. He's 40-year-old fighters don't like. Look at this guy. I mean, this is what we're working with here, guys. This is what we're working with here. You don't win when you look like that.
Hey, that jab was nice. Don't come on, man. Don't act like that jab wasn't nice.
Listen, what he did best in that fight, in my opinion, is when he would fake that he was going to go do a wrestling move, and then he'd throw like an overhand and catch him. And it but it just proved that he was basically going for that one shot to knock him down at that point. He didn't go for any takedowns after the first round.
No.
And to me, as a wrestler, and that's his money. He realized that after that second round, when he would get Stipe on the cage, Stipe would literally just turn him around and be like, "No, now you're on the cage." And he was just so much bigger than him, 5 inches, 9-inch reach advantage. I mean,
But Stipe did look a lot slimmer than their last 2 fights. I will say that.
He did.
But I just think Stipe had control the entire time of the fight, minus the eye poke, which is terrible. They have gloves that can fix that problem. The UFC just doesn't want to fix it. Like, there's gloves that curl more, where they can be completely avoided, but they don't want to do anything to address it yet. And I have no idea, because they don't care about fighter safety. Now Daniel has a torn cornea, and it's completely avoidable now at this point. But I don't like. That's terrible that happened. That sucks. Don't want to see somebody get injured like that. But I think he was going to lose that fight.
What do you think about the referee? The referee, when he goes, "I got poked in the eye," the referee goes, "No, you didn't. You got punched. Keep your eyes open."
And he did apologize for that.
You could hear that on TV. Like, that's a smug remark if you don't know for sure.
Right.
Yeah. Oh, it's terrible, and that's why he had to publicly apologize.
No, I know. I get it. Cormier is a commentator now. That's what he is. Just like Michael Bisping.
He's been one. That's the thing.
That's what I'm saying. He never should have came back. He was done. Like, there was a chance he could win, but like, it's like any fight. You have a chance, but realistically, the chances were less and less every time. He got lucky the first time. He's not a real heavyweight. He's fat, but he's built like a light heavyweight.
Well, no, he was a heavyweight champ in Strikeforce before he came to the UFC. He's a heavyweight.
But he's not built like, he's wide, but he's not built like a heavyweight. You know what I mean? It's like Roy Jones. Yes, he's now a heavyweight because he's heavy, but he's not built that way. If he's in his best shape and his best size, he should be fighting in the weight class below. I got a question now. I'm gonna actually fact check you on your 16 title defenses, because it's incorrect. It was 10 title defenses. He had 16 fights in a row that he won.
Oh, that's what it was. Okay.
Joey Clax, who is the MMA expert on this show. Just saying.
Sounds like you.
No, I'm just saying. No, John's right. I'm going to call him out as much as I can. He did have 16 fight win streaks, so I'll give you this. But here's my next question. So what happens now? I had made the prediction. I had said to you guys earlier, if Stipe lost, I thought they both were going to retire. Stipe, seems like he's into so many outside things. He's a fireman. He's this. I don't know how much more he's going to fight. Is Nagano the next guy up?
He absolutely is, yeah.
And you think he's going to knock him out?
No, the same thing is going to happen like the first Stipe and Francis fight.
Stipe's going to take him?
Yeah, Stipe is just going to avoid that right hand because he's a smarter fighter than most people that fight Francis, and take him down and ground and pound him for a decision.
He's gotten better since then, though. He's won a bunch of fights since then. And then I mean, what about Derek Lewis?
No. Derek is so incredibly entertaining, but he's not a title challenger. Ovenstruck, who knocked out JDS, who previously was knocked out by Francis. It's just like these guys just go in circles knocking each other out while the couple that are the best get called the baddest man on the planet for just not getting knocked out in that year or two.
I mean, how many fights has Stipe had? Like, how many heavyweight championship fights have there been in the last, 2 years?
Not a lot, because
Three fights in 2 years. That's ridiculous. They need to fight more. And I've watched Derek Lewis fight 5 times in that time.
But understand when you hold the title in the UFC, at most you're gonna fight 2 times a year. If you're a title holder, that's pretty much what it is, how it works with the pay-per-views and scheduling.
But they're fighting once a year.
Well, 1.5. If it was,
it's been almost 3 years since this trilogy started. When was the first?
Yeah.
I mean, that's what I think. Like, they need to fight more. And I like Derek Lewis because he fights. He's out there fighting 3 times a year. Masvidal fights 3 times a year minimum. Like, that's what they do. And I think the heavyweight division stinks.
The guys who aren't the champs do fight more because they need to get more money. And when you're the champ, you get a little bit more extra income stream, so you're fighting less. I mean, I agree with you.
But like they have other divisions. There's more fights too. I feel like than the heavyweight. Like the first Stipe fight was July of 2018. Then the next one was in 2019, and that's 1 fight a year for your. This should be the best division in sports. I mean, heavyweight boxing was always the #1 combat sport division in any fighting alliance. UFC has taken over boxing, honestly, and they're bigger than boxing now. And for some reason, their heavyweight is maybe like their 5th, 6th best division, maybe. I mean, you could take their 155 all day, obviously. You could take their 170 and their 140 even over this right now. And to me, they're 205 when they got Cormier and John Jones and those guys fighting. So literally, like, your heavyweight's so low down, but it's because of lack of star power at the top. Bring back Brock Lesnar.
It's always been a shallow division.
Except for when Brock Lesnar was there, right, Clax?
Yeah, love Brock Lesnar.
and I think, if any fighter channeled Joey Clax, it's Derek Lewis. His first main fight that I watched, his post-fight, he went up to Joe Rogan and he pulled his pants down. His shorts, pulled them completely down to his ankles. And Joe Rogan goes, "What are you doing?" And he goes, "Oh." And he pulls him up and he goes, "Why did you do that?" He goes, "Because my balls are sweating. My balls are sweating."
Nice.
No, he said my balls are hot.
My balls are hot. My balls
Close
are
enough.
hot. And I was like, okay, you won me over there. Then
Good for him.
did you see what he did after this last fight live on ESPN? He comes out, he's standing there with his headphones on. They're like, "So Derek, how does it feel to have a huge win?" And he looks over to his guy on the side. He goes, "Yo, I got to take a huge beep poop." But he said it in a different word. And he said it twice on live TV. "I just want to go take a quick beep." And I was like, oh, my God. And then they go, "Well, Derek, before you go empty your bowels, blah, blah, blah," is how they started the interview. And Joey Clax, if you were a fighter, I feel like this guy's trying to all of your moves. It's unbelievable. So, yeah. With that, I'm going to give a quick shout out to our, how do I say this? Our favorite pitcher, Clayton Kershaw. Okay, Joey Clax, you're up. It's time for your Clack Attack. I want to hear what you have to say before our final thoughts here. So take it away on some young football players.
All right. I only want to talk about one thing today. His name's Baker Mayfield.
Okay.
He had a couple of things to say this week. One thing in particular caught me off guard. Right? You ready for this? I don't know. Did you hear what Baker Mayfield had to say this week?
I did, but I want to hear it from you. I like hearing your words better.
He said, "I lost my say." He was trying to defend himself for his amazing play this past season.
Sophomore slump?
"I lost myself in the Browns' chaos last season," he said. This was the quote. I lost myself in the Browns' chaos last season. All right, let's talk about let's talk about.
I'd love to know what Jordan thinks about this afterwards.
Let's just talk about this for a second. Let's just rewind the tape for a second, right, to 2017. So he comes into the league, right, and Tyrod Taylor is just playing like garbage. He gets drafted to an 0-16 team, right? He wins the Heisman Trophy, curse of the Heisman. He comes into an 0-16 team. Tyrod Taylor's playing like garbage. He comes in and takes the team to wins his first game ever. Woohoo! Dazzling. Baker Mayfield. Oh my God, he threw a touchdown pass for Cleveland Browns. Woo! He won a game. Oh my God, great. Takes the team to a whopping 7-8-1. Oh my God, that's so amazing, right? Then he takes them to another whopping 6-10 season. Guess what he's going to do in 2020? He's going to take them to another 6-10 season. Why? Because Baker Mayfield is a schlub nuts. This is the clack attack of the week. Baker Mayfield is a schlub nuts.
I'd like to.
I don't really want to know how you feel about Baker Mayfield. What I want to know is Joe Burrow's going to be a schlub nuts? Is the curse of the Heisman on for this kid? And is he going to be a schlub nuts? Is he going to Johnny Manziel the heck out of it? Is he going to Baker Mayfield the hell out of it? What is he going to do with his talent?
Jordan, what do you think?
Well, I'll answer the question first. I think that Joe Burrows will do what he can. It won't be his fault that they lose, but he has little to no help. I mean, he has Joe Mixon, who he's very good. AJ Green, he's there. So you have a solid receiver, but I mean, he's not going to do any Baker Mayfield stuff where he's going to try and just play hero ball. He's just going to follow the playbook, read the defense, and do what he can, and just understand the process. He seems like a process kid. I mean, he went from Ohio State to LSU. He's been humbled before. Whereas the Manziels, the Mayfields, they haven't humbled themselves before. And this is them getting humbled, and this shows how they can take it. So I say Burrows has been humbled before. He's going to follow suit of that. But to add on to this clack attack, I mean, the biggest stat ever when I was watching the season last year was, I think, halfway into the season, it's either 8 to 10 games. I'll just go with 8 because I have hope for Baker Mayfield. I want to throw dirt on his name like that, but out of the first 8 games, my man Odell Beckham Jr. had 7 attempts thrown to him in the red zone. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Just throw him the ball.
Okay. Can I step in here just for 1 second?
Well, whose fault is that?
I want to step in here for 1 second. So, who do you want me to start with? Mayfield or Burrow, Joe?
A dealer's choice. Okay.
I'm going to start with Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow is going to put up some horrendous rookie numbers. That's going to be without a doubt. Like he's going to be hot garbage this first year. You want to know why?
Sure. He's got nobody.
There's a reason why they were the number one pick. They're going to be hot garbage. I think by the time they start coming around to be good, because they're not like Cleveland where they could be good in year 2. They're going to basically be good by year 4 when they have to pay him. And then they're going to be no good. So I think Burrow as a whole is going to be a bust. I do. I'm going to come out. What?
My question is about his attitude.
Yeah. Because he thinks he's, top dog and he's going to go from being Mr. 60 touchdowns to Mr. Cincinnati quarterback. What happened to every quarterback that's gone there since Boomer Esiason? They've just gone to nothing. Nothing's happened. So unless he gets traded, no, he's going to have a garbage career. I don't care about him. I care about Baker Mayfield, though. And this is where I'm going with you guys on this one. You ready? If this football season happens this year, Baker Mayfield will be a top 10 quarterback in football.
What's that really? I mean, he'll be 10.
Maybe he'll be 7. Maybe he'll be 5. He's not going to be. He's not going to be 1 through 4 or 5 most likely, but he's going to be a top 10 quarterback, which is, if you have a top 10 quarterback, you should be pretty happy in football. That's just my opinion.
You have 4 or 5 solid weapons. How can you not be? That's how bad he is.
Let me continue. I was just starting with the foundation that Baker Mayfield will be a top 10 quarterback. So we're starting there. Look around what he has around him. He's got number 1 wide receivers on both sides with Landry and Odell. They got Hooper, who's going to be a solid tight end for that squad. Plus, they drafted, I think, a tight end too. The offensive line is good. Not great, but they're good. They're solid. Running game should be the best in the league, in my opinion, with Chubb and Hunt. That's the best 1-2 running back combo in football. So that's the next part of the equation, Joe. I know where you're going. I know. So this is not where it ends with me. And this is not, because this was all there last year. So you're like, hey, schmuck, what's different, huh? What's different? You want to know what's different? Freddie Kitchens is not there anymore. Freddie Kitchens is gone. And that guy did not know how to run an offense. He did not know how to run a team. So that's 2 big mistakes. Like, being a leader of a team is one thing in the NFL. Jordan, you could attest to this more than any of us. Being a head coach is not about X's and O's as much as it is about being a leader of a team. You have to run the whole ship. You are the captain. I don't care if you don't know X and O's for offense or defense. If you're a leader of men, you could be a head coach in football. Now, offensive coordinator, I don't give a poop if you can lead men. It doesn't matter if you can lead men. You have to have your X's and O's down. You have to be able to scheme, and you have to be able to be better than the defensive coach on the other side. That's football to me. It's complex, but it's simple in the big scheme of things. And they were missing both of those things last year. They also had a defensive coordinator who wanted to fight with the offensive coordinator and fight with the head coach because he wanted to be there. And the combination of all that is just no good. And Mayfield was set up to fail. He had no way, even with all the weapons around him last year, the best he could pull is a six-win thing, in my opinion. He had a lot of work to do. He manned up and said he had a lot of work to do. This is a make-or-break season. He's going to come out, and he's either going to be a stud or he's going to be a flop, and that's it for his career, in my opinion. I don't think there's gray area here. I want to
point out 2 things.
Please.
One, if COVID or no COVID, either he has a good season this year, either he's a top 10 quarterback this season, or I don't ever want to hear Baker's name on this show ever again. That's number 1.
They're going to move on. They're going to move on. Like, this is his 3rd year. If you can't come through there, it's just like Trubisky. Who did they bring in? Nick Foles?
Oh,
Nick Foles.
Come on, man.
So Trubisky he played 3 years. They gave him 3 years. They said after year 3, gosh, I don't know if this guy, he's not getting better. And that's when you start bringing in a Foles. And maybe that's what's going to happen next year. Yeah, they'll keep him for that 4th year just in case, but he's not going to get the big extension. He's not going to get any of these things. So I think Odell Beckham was hurt all year last year. He had to get surgery for his oblique, his ribs. I know you're going to say that doesn't really matter, but I think Odell Beckham's a top 5 receiver in football. And
Odell is a top 5 receiver.
A top 15 receiver in football. That's pretty solid to have 2 of the top 15 guys in football on your squad with a running game, with a defense. Did we even talk about their defense? I mean, Myles Garrett just got the extension. Their 1st-round pick last year, the cornerback, was it Ward? Is that his name, Jordan? Yes. Stud. I mean, they drafted really well. I think this team is going to win the division. I think they're a 10-win team. I do. I think they're
over the Ravens and Ben's back. Are you kidding me?
The Ravens, you're right. I forgot about the Ravens. That was a schmuck pick. Okay, the Ravens are going to win 12, and I think they're going to win 10, and they're going to be a wild card team.
The Steelers will be 3rd in the division.
Yes.
No.
Yeah, no. I do.
We just talked about a leader of men. Tomlin, that's not his DNA.
Mike Tomlin, other than Bill Belichick, in my opinion, Mike Tomlin is the best head coach in football and the best leader of men. Your boy Pete Carroll is a little bit below. I'm not saying it's very.
No, I agree. And
Pete Carroll's top 5. I think the way he leads his team is it's totally different than
Tomlin is a lot better than Carroll. I can give you.
But as a leader of men, absolutely. And I think Mike Tomlin can will them to a 9-win season, absolutely. And that's what he did last year. Duck Hodges. I mean, that team should not have won 8 games last year. But I think this squad is built. I think the Ravens are built. Pittsburgh's not built. They just have great coaching. They have a quarterback who, as I've already told you, I believe Big Ben has still got it. I don't know. We haven't seen him throw. We
That's
don't know what
all
he's
you
got.
need to be better than the Browns right now.
I don't know.
Number 2,
Keep going.
hypothetically,
Yeah.
if we ever had a fantasy football segment on this show,
With hopefully a future host,
hosted by a famous football player,
Hall of Famer.
I would make a point to let him know that Baker Mayfield is undraftable. Undraftable. That's how I feel about Baker Mayfield.
I personally talk to this Hall of Famer, and I tell him I take him in the 10th round, sleeper pick.
And that's all I got.
All right, well, let's get our final thoughts in today. I want to go first. I don't ever go first with my final thoughts. And I'd like to start with some positive Los Angeles Dodgers talk. That's right, John. I'd like to give some praise and some love and adulation, and overall, I'm just impressed. Mookie Betts, I love records, as you all know. I like to bring up stats, and Mookie Betts tied a record. 6 times in his career at age 27, he's hit 3 home runs in a game. Now, that is a remarkable stat to me. Hitting 1 home run in a game is not easy. For maybe one of the hardest things in all of sports to do, hit a baseball. Then you hit a home run, makes it even harder. Your second thing, hitting 2 home runs, but hitting 3, that's an amazing career day, and he's done it 6 times. 2 players in baseball history have done that. Do you know who those 2 players are, anybody?
No, one of them is Sammy Sosa, for sure.
Correct. Sammy Sosa, and he did it like in a 4-year span, which was unbelievable. Put him in the Hall of Fame. That's just me. And the other one is underrated Johnny Mize. Most of you probably don't know who Johnny Mize is, but he had himself a couple good games, a good career. There's a few guys that have 5, A-Rod, McGuire, Carlos Delgado, guys like that. But that's just an amazing feat. I think he's going to set the record. He'll probably hit his 7th at some point. I started thinking about my favorite, like, single game stats that, like, won't get broken. And we're going to do this maybe next week. Maybe next episode we'll do stats that won't be broken. But what do you think about hitting 2 grand slams in 1 inning? Do you think that stat's ever going to be broken? Because when I was a kid, I think it was like 1998 or so, or 97, I watched the game live. And he was on the St. Louis Cardinals. And his son is now a stud third baseman or shortstop for the San Diego Padres, Fernando Tatis Sr. 2 grand slams in 1 inning. That's a stat I don't think will ever be broken again. But we're going to go into that on another episode. Jordan, what's your final take?
Well, I'm glad you reminded me. I was thinking I saw a stat today, and part of why I'm wearing this, Seahawks hoodie. I was reading and we're talking about base. Oh, okay. Anyway, so talking about how we really want to, give Russ the ball more, let him let loose. And interesting stats since Russell's been with the Seahawks 2012. Every time we're up by 4 or more at halftime, 57-0.
Oh, I like that stat.
So,
wow.
Whoa. Okay, so you're saying you give Russ more than a field goal lead at halftime, he will not lose.
57 times to prove that, yeah.
That's enough of a sample size for me to say if you give him a field goal or more than a field goal lead, Russ will not lose.
We're just saying give him the reins. If he wants to throw the ball, throw it. If he wants to run, but let him just don't, play conservative. Okay, 4th quarter. All right, Russ, we need you.
First of all, just the fact 57 wins. I mean, that's a lot of wins just off the bat for, but wow, that's a money stat, Jordan. That's an all fired up gem right there. Thank you for bringing that to the table.
You're welcome.
Johnny G, what you got?
Dodgers have been playing really well. I do want to say we need to implement the electronic strike zone. I'm so sick and tired of these umpires. So, like, watching every game, we have enough scouting to do on the other teams, other pitchers. Why do we need an additional scouting report on every single umpire and what their zone is? Let's figure out this electronics. We don't need to figure out. It's already figured out. Just implement it. It's bull.
Minor leagues have been doing it.
Yes, it's ridiculous. Like, it's so absurd. It needs to be inputted. No, like I've seen on both sides, both teams. Like, you just stare, like, after strike 3 call, you stare at the umpire and just like, are you serious? Like, let's make it unquestionable and get that aspect out of the game because it's done. It's overcooked. I'm over it.
John, I can't agree more with you. I think we should actually do a little segment on that at some point because I think home plate umpires are the most cocky, ridiculous characters in all of sports. I watched the game the other night, and Steven Strasburg got ejected from the crowd for arguing balls and strikes. And he predicted, he goes, I'm going to yell if he makes a bad call, and I guarantee you within the first 3 innings I get ejected. And he was so on the money. And you know what? It's so easy for it to go over the strike zone and just click a button, ball or strike. It'll let you know in your hand if the ball or strike. The ump just has to go like this or like this. And to me, it's just common sense at this point. John, what's your opinion on university letting people have cameras to see signs in the outfield? Is that okay? Or
we're not going to go there right now.
If it's universal, I'm saying, if everyone's allowed.
No, no. If you can pick a sign from second base, do it. That's part of it, but no, that's just
because of the NFL, and they like to have people with cameras on everything trying to steal signs. So I just didn't know if it would. I know we're not going back to the whole Astros. You know, they did it when it was illegal. But what if everyone was allowed to? I was just curious if you would be like. You know,
I mean, but it's a whole other thing because it's going to change the entire game. So I mean, sure, it's another aspect, but it's going to change the entire pitching game.
Like 7-inning doubleheaders or runners standing on second base in extra innings. I mean, are we really worried about changing the game right now? I mean, that's just my question. I feel like MLB's not worried about changing the game. Why are we? But all right, that was just a quick question.
So if that does happen, it's just going to turn into, are we going to make Mike into the catcher's ear from the pitcher, some communication like how quarterbacks get?
They should. That'd be awesome. But the catcher speaking, the pitcher would hear it. So the pitcher would have to speak to the catcher. Put his hand over his glove.
Yeah.
Curveball. That's awesome. They should do that all day. Why not? Why not? Technology. Why are we going to fight it? It's only going to get crazier. Let's embrace it. That's where I'm at. That's where I was going with this whole thing, is embracing technology. That's another topic for another day. Joey Clax, finish us off. Give me that final thought before our theme music starts playing here.
Final thought. Your boy, Jerry Jones, announced this week that he's going to have 40,000 fans per game at their home games this season. Meanwhile, the Reds and Pirates are canceling the last 2 games of their series all at the same time.
Football country.
I wonder how that's going to work out. Meanwhile, Jordan's Packers claim they're going to have 12,000 fans per game.
Football country.
Meanwhile, the New York Football 4-win Giants aren't going to have any fans. Not really sure how that's all going to work out.
Okay, fellas, let's do a over-under real quick before we get out of here. Over-under, 100 fans, first game in the Cowboy Stadium. Jordan.
Over.
That's
not what I want, but over.
Yeah, it's not what I want, but it's Texas, and it's going to be over.
Bro. Dude, over under 10,000 fans is the question.
Texas still has state mandates of crowds over 50, so I don't see how, legally they're going to – Jerry Jones could say whatever he wants. We have a leader in this country that says whatever he wants. You could say whatever you want in this country. It's been proven. It doesn't matter what you say. It doesn't mean it's going to happen. They should be fighting just to have football right now. That should be the only priority on their mind, is how are we going to be able to get through a 16-game season? Because what happens if week 2, all of a sudden, there's 9 Browns that fail a COVID test? And it's Baker Mayfield, it's Chubb, it's Myles Garrett. Are they going to just suit up the practice squad and say, go out there and pretend like it's just the same thing? Or does that team now not show up for a week? Now, if that team doesn't show up for week 2 and they're playing the Steelers, do those 2 teams have a remake? Do they do a doubleheader? No, this is not.
Play a doubleheader against the Marlins.
Yeah, it's not happening. So, to me, the stupidest thing that these dumb, rich, old men can be saying is we're going to try to make extra money and bring in a crowd right now. Where nowhere in our country is that physically possible without being infected. I'm seeing what's happening in Georgia with the colleges opening and the parties and people getting infected and everything getting shut down instantly. Football players have their faces up against each other. They're not going to wear masks. It's inevitable. But let's at least try to get that going. They canceled all the preseason for a reason, right, Jordan? I mean, it's not because they don't want to make money. It's because they can't physically do it. So it's just a stupid conversation that Jerry Jones also said that he's changed his stance on players kneeling, but he won't tell us what the stance is. Because you're a racist old white man. That's why. And I'm over these old racist Texan white men. Like, I'm just over it. I'm over all of them. I'm over the WNBA owner, the woman that's a racist. I'm over all these old white racist owners. Like, get out of town. I mean, there's obviously a big issue we can talk about another day with minority owners and all that stuff in sports, but this, like, just shut up. Like, just shut up. Clax, he's getting me fired up.
I got you fired up.
Yeah, no. This Jerry Jones got me fired up because, like, it's just stupid. Let's get football. I want to do a fantasy football draft, and I can't even get excited about that right now because I'm thinking, when's it supposed to start? In 4 weeks?
Less.
Yeah.
3 weeks?
3 weeks.
Like 4 weeks from today.
Ooh.
Right? What's the opening? Let's see. What is opening day?
3 weeks from today.
3 weeks from today is open. This is supposed to be week 2 right now of preseason, right?
We need it. I need it.
Oh, Ed Ogeron needs it too, but it's not going to happen. I mean, it's just not going to happen. I mean, the NFL might start. I'm not going to say that's not going to happen. There's not going to be fans in the crowd. There's not going to be 40,000 people showing up for anything. Live Nation shut down concerts till the second or third quarter of next year. They said you can't have people in crowds like that, and they want to make money too, just like Jerry Jones. If you can't have a concert there, you can't have a football crowd there. It's the same thing. Why wouldn't they have a concert next week at the stadium if you could do it? Joey Clax, we'd be back in business. But guess what? They're not doing that. It's not happening.
Nope.
Football's not going to have a live crowd. The SEC is not going to play, Jordan. I'm sorry. I know you don't believe me still. You guys didn't believe me last week when I said by tomorrow after the last episode, everyone's going to bail out. And everyone did the next day, like I said they would, except for the SEC and ACC, which we said.
Hold on. And Nebraska and Notre Dame.
No, Nebraska, they stopped now. They stopped their fight to go in another.
Oh, I wanted them to play in the SEC.
No, they gave up that battle because they were going to get kicked out of their division. They were getting threats to get kicked out of their Big Ten. So they said, no, we don't want to mess with the Big Ten anymore. We want to stay there. So that's how that ended. So, no, literally it's ACC and the SEC right now. Notre Dame and the Big 12. Okay. But if you notice, those are based on locations of where the schools are and why those decisions haven't been made. Not the most intelligent part of our country, not to offend any of our fans that live in Alabama, Louisiana, South Florida, Northern Florida. We love you all, but you know the people around you. Come on. You know what you're working with here. All right. I don't want to end on an insult, so let's end on something positive here. I was thinking about the Mets, but that's nothing positive to think about for the Mets for me. Then I was thinking about the Jets for Joey Clax, and
Nothing positive there.
No, there's nothing positive. So I started thinking about beast mode and your Seattle Seahawks. Is he coming back?
I just saw him in Drake's new music
That's
video.
why I'm asking. I saw him make an appearance with Kevin Durant, looking good. Both look healthy.
Yeah.
I hope beast mode. Football's better when beast mode is there. And for your sake and the sake of us NFL fans, I hope beast mode runs over at least one person this year. Just give him the ball, right, Jordan? Just give him the ball.
Exactly.
All right, we're done. All fired up. We finished another episode. We're going to be back middle to end of the week, I think, with another episode. Joey Clax is on location right now. We just wanted to get back to New York safe. It's a crazy, crazy town out there where he is. He's in Texas right now. He's transitioned from Orlando to Dallas. He is on the move. And he's not even flying. He's in a car doing all this. It's quite amazing. If you don't believe me, I mean, he's in a car doing all this, traveling. Where's your next stop, Joey Clax?
But we'll let you know when we get there. We're in the old Madden bus.
Get it. All right. Fired up. We'll see you next week.